Hello everybody, it's Wendy, and today we are going to make a beautiful necklace using some metallic bead soup. So I'm here today for Jesse James beads. We're going to be using all Jesse James beads in this metallic bead soup, and it is going to be fabulous. So our encouraging word for today is you are one of a kind, and I thought this was very appropriate for bead soup because a lot of the beads in our bead soup are one of a kind. Because, well, not really one of a kind, but the only one of theirs kind left that you have. So there they are, but you are one of a kind. No one can accomplish the purpose that you are intended to accomplish, and you are special, so keep that in mind. So bead soup, we all have it. It sits on our desk and stares at us and begs us to use it, and every day we look at it and we're like, oh, I need to use you, but we just don't. So today we're going to use our bead soup. So this is how I store my Jesse James bead soup. These are photo containers. I keep my Jesse James beads separate from all my other beads because I do specific projects out of them. So here is my silver bead soup. So it's got everything in here. It has charms, it has pendants, it has all the beads, anything silver that's left over from a mini mix. Oh, there's a gold one. It's out of place. From a mini mix or a strand goes in here. And I have one of these for every single color and metal. So these are rhinestone. Anything like these rhinestone rondelles, these rhinestone beads. Here's my browns. So we have a lot of wooden beads in here, copper tones, so browns. And then here's my gold. And the reason that I just pulled out these four is because we're just doing metallic bead soup today, which I thought was kind of cool. When you hear bead soup, you hear, you think of all different kinds of beads, but we're going to do specifically metallic bead soup. This necklace is going to be so pretty. So this is how I store them. I love this. I have them all labeled, if you can see. And they stand like this in a tub, a big clear tub. And that's my Jesse James. It's all kept together, separated out from my other beads. So that's how I store that. So what you're going to need today is we're going to be using some beading wire. Okay. So this is called Tiger Tail. It's called beading wire. This is Beadalon brand. And it is 7-strand, and I've got it cut into several different lengths here. I've got a 7.5-inch strand, a 9.5-inch strand, and a 10.5-inch strand, okay? Because these are going to kind of layer, and you need to have enough room to crimp them on the ends, so we've got different lengths here. And then I have another piece we're going to cut into a couple little smaller pieces, and you'll see that in a minute why we're going to do that, okay? I have got, some size 3 crimp tubes in here, and a couple of jump rings. You're just going to need a couple of jump rings and some size 3 crimp tubes. I'm using some bead bugs today because we've got all these strands, and I'm notorious for having my beads fall off the end of the strand, so we don't want that. I have a rhinestone metallic clasp here. This is Jesse James brand rhinestone metallic clasp. I've got several different chains, so don't limit yourself to just beads, okay? When you do bead soup, pull out bead soup, pull out chain soup. So here's my chain soup. I've got some silver, I've got some matte gold, some bronze, or some antique bronze, and some shiny gold. And we're going to use all this chain. I have 2 cordons. Now you can use anything. You can use a cap, whatever you have, any kind of cap, a bead cap if you have that is kind of long and will go down over what we're going to do. But you're going to need to be able to put all 3 strands up through this. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And then here it is. Here is the bead soup. So look at this. It's luscious. I love it. Look at all this rhinestone sparkle. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Okay, now this top row, we're getting down to be kind of, we're at 6 inches. So I'm going to do a few of the smaller beads up here. So let's see. Let's do this guy on this end, this one on this end, and then I'm going to go into these tinier ones. So here, here, might do a spacer. And looking at right about 9. And when you do put these on, of course, they're going to shrink up a little bit. So I'm going to keep it right like this. And I may end up having add a couple more there even. Okay, so we're going to do our bottom. Okay, so I'm going to start with my bottom strand. I'm going to put on a little bead bug. And I'm just going to my top strand, I'm sorry. I'm just going to string this top strand up. And like I said, when you put these on, it won't be as long as it is laid out here on your table because you've got space in between the beads out here. And excuse the alcohol links on my hands. I did wear gloves, but I'm so messy when it comes to stuff like that it just doesn't help if I wear gloves. I'm not liking this rondelle next to this. I'm going to switch these places. The rondelle next to that long bead. So I'm just going to switch places with these. That one will sit inside it better. That makes sense. It does. Okay. And then we're going to put these on. And just make sure with these filigree ones that you try to get through the middle. If you're using filigree type beads, you try to go through the middle hole and don't have it hanging lopsided on there, because sometimes they can be. And these are hard to get through with the tiger tail because it wants to go through everything but the middle hole. Especially when you're on camera. There we go. Alright, our next one. And you can make these strands as long as you want. You don't have to do them the same length that I did, but I just like the way that that'll be okay, I think. I just like the way that they lay if you make them kind of the same length. But again, I mean, it's totally your own creative control. Do whatever you want. I'm going to run out of wire, I think. I may have to take a couple beads off this one so I can get it crimped. And here's another one that's hard to get through the hole in the middle. Whoops. There we go. Down to the end. Let's see if I have enough room. I don't have much room on the other end. Alright, so let's see if I can get this thing crimped. Okay, so here we have it. Now, I'm going to take my crimp tube. I'm not using wire guards on this. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. I'm not going to. I'm going to take my crimp tube. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get that crimped. I'm probably going to have to either take a couple beads off or cut a little bit longer length of wire. I don't think I can get it done. It's very tiny. But what I'm doing is I'm going to bend my wire up and over, just like I would if I had a wire guardian in it, and go right back through my crimp. I'm just creating a small loop on the end. But yeah, I've got too many beads on here. So let's take off the two end ones on each end. Whoops. And that will probably give me just enough room to get it crimped. Alright, so let's do this again. Put your crimp bead on, bend your wire up and around, make a little loop, and then come back through your crimp. Now, if you crimp this correctly, you don't have to worry about really making sure that there's extra wire coming out. A lot of times I like to tuck it through a couple of the beads, but if you crimp it correctly, it will hold. So I'm going to not worry about that this time because I've got so little wire left. I really cut myself short on this one. So I'm just pulling it up, and see my little loop there? I'm going to take my crimping pliers. I'm going to lay the crimp in the divot here. I'm even going to pull it up a little bit more, and I'm going to crimp it down. And when you do, it puts each wire in its own little channel. Then you turn it sideways here, and you close it up. Close it up tightly. And now that crimp is not going anywhere. It's very secure. Okay? If there's any wire left, just stick it down in the hole of your bead and pull. And we're going to do this other end. I hope I have enough to do this other end. Really cut myself short on the wire today. but I want to get all those pretty beads on there. Okay, so let's take it. Let's go up and over. You can use your crimping pliers to help you do this. And down through that crimp. And it's coming out right there. So I'm just gonna, I want to make sure that my beads are tight on here. They are. Okay. All right. Make sure it's coming out the bottom. And it's good if you can keep your wires from crossing over each other, but sometimes it's just about impossible to do that when you've got a tight little spot like this. Okay, so there is our first strand. And let's see what this measures out to be. Yep, it's right at 7 inches, so that's pretty good. Now we've messed up all of our other ones down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to string on my second strand and my bottom strand, okay, just like I did my first one. If I can get them all in. Can't believe I did that. That makes me aggravated. And I'm just going to string them all on, and I'm going to crimp them just like we did the first one. Now, check your lengths, okay, down at the end. So this, you know, this wire, this piece that I have here, is just a tad bit longer than this one. And it needs to be because it's going to lay below this. So if you don't think you have enough room to get your beads on and crimp, and I may not, I may even use the bigger piece of wire. Let's see. So if this one's 7, you know, I think I am. I think I'm going to go 10 with the second one, which would, I'll just use this piece that I had cut at 10. And then on the bottom one, I think I'm going to go ahead and go 12. I just want to be sure that I have enough to room to crimp and that they're going to lay right, okay? So you may want to do that too. It's totally up to you, whatever you want to do, but I think I'm going to go 10 and 12. So I have my 3 strands, and I'm going to measure and show you what I ended up with. From the end of each loop on each side, the first one is right about just a tad under 7 inches. The second one is just a tad over 8 inches. And the third one is just a tad over 9 inches. Okay, so what we are going to do is we're going to take 2 smaller pieces of the tiger tail. And I've got like, I don't know, 3-4 inch pieces here. It really doesn't matter. You don't need them too long, but you want it long enough to be able to get through. We're going to loop these together. So we're going to pick up our bottom row, our middle row, and our top row. We're going to bring this together, and we're going to take a crimp tube and put over both strands, just like this. Come on down to the bottom, and we're going to crimp it, okay? And you don't need much room there. You need it to be kind of tight down to the beads, and we're just going to crimp this. Okay, and then we're going to close the crimp. Oops. There we go. Now this one, we're going to keep one strand on, and the other strand we're going to trim off right here. Okay, just like that. Do the same thing on your other side. All right. So once you do that, here's what you've got. Okay. Now, we're going to take our chain. Well, first of all, we're going to take our caps here. So, I'm going to slide this cap on and just see how it fits. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I want my bottom strand to be on the bottom, so just fix those if you need to, if they're crossing. Okay, and I'm going to slide this other cap on over here and check it. Okay, looking pretty good. All right, now, I'm going to put some of my flat beads on here. So let's see what we got. I kind of think I want to do a rondelle, and it may have to slide down over your crimp. So just look at that. So I kind of think maybe something saucer shaped would work better if this one will slide over my crimp. And see, it doesn't want to, and my thing slides down here, so I have to pick a different bead. So I may even have to go with one of these saucer beads with the bigger hole, because they should slide down over it, and that's fine. Just go with the bigger hole bead. There we go. See how that slides down over? And that fits pretty perfectly. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. make sure. Okay. And then I'm just going to layer a few of these flat beads. I just think these are really cool looking. I'm just going to pick the bronze, the gold, some of this gold, maybe the saucer bead. If I can get it through there. There we go. A rhinestone rondelle. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Let's see what I've got. I've got the silver metal spacer. This little antique bronze flower spacer. A big daisy. My saucer. And this rondelle. Actually, I'm going to use that one. Okay. So here's what we have. And then let's see. Let's go with, that's a bead. Let's go with a copper daisy spacer. Actually, I need something smaller in there, I think, to fit inside that rhinestone rondelle. So let's do, there were some smaller ones. Here we go. Let's do this little gold one. Yeah, that'll go in there better. Gold one on this side, and same thing on the other side. And then I'm going to do the same thing that I've been doing. I'm going to crimp. I'm just going to make a little loop and crimp. Same thing I've been doing the whole time. And again, you can use a wire guard if you want. It's totally up to you. I'm just going to make a loop. Go back down through a couple of my beads if I can. Sometimes it's really hard to get back down through these tiny ones, so if you can't, but try to, because it does look better if you get down through it. And see if I can grab that little end here and pull. There we go. Then you can take your plier and put it in here. Don't close it, just hold it in there, and take your other plier and pull on the loose end, and hopefully it will pull down. It's kind of hard sometimes, but usually it will when you have these tiny beads on there. Kind of hard. Okay, flip this over and go ahead and crimp, and turn this sideways and close your crimp. Now if you want, you can use a crimp cover on it. I'm not going to. I'm just letting the metal show. Okay, and then go ahead and trim your extra piece off, just like that. Okay, same thing on the other side. Okay, now we're going to take our chain, and I just have a bunch of scraps of chain. I think I'm going to start out, let's see here. Now, one thing that you do have to decide is how long you want this to hang on you. I like a necklace like this to hang up high. I don't like it to be very long, and so I know for a necklace that I like to hang high, kind of around my collarbone, I like it to be about 24 inches. So if I measure this, you know, right here, I've got about, let's see, go around to the bottom strand and up, I've got about 13 inches, okay? So I need about 10.5 inches on each side to make my 24. So let's look here. I think I want to start with this metal, and then let's see. Oh, actually I may start with that one. Okay, so we're going to start with this one, go into this one. So let's see, are these the same? Close to it. Yeah, those are really close. It looks like I may have to cut off this one link on this one, though, to make them even. So let's do that. I love this chain. This was called Lauren's chain in matte gold, and I think they have it in matte silver, too. This was one of my favorite chains right here that Jessie James has ever had. I love this chain. I've used it on a lot of stuff going on. So we're going to hook this one on. I'm just going right onto here. And then right on, just like this. on that side, same thing on the other side. Let's do about 4.5 with the silver. So I'm going to cut it right there on this side. Same thing on this side. I'm just going to line these two up, make sure I get it the same. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hook our two silver links or silver chains on. And this chain does kind of have a front and a back. So you want to make sure, and see, I think well, did I get it? I hope I got it to the front. It'll show if I didn't, and I'll have to switch it, but I think I did. Just try to lay them out flat and get them on there. Here we go with our silver little ring, and we'll go right into this guy. Hook it together. And again, make sure your rings are closed up really good, because this is some thin little bits. I am hoping I put that one on right. It looks like it's flipping, but I hope not. We'll see when I pick the whole thing up. It'll definitely show. If not, it's just opening a couple rings to change it. That's really all it is. Okay, so let's close this one up, and then we're going to do our chunky gold to finish it off. Oh my goodness, I'm having trouble with my small things today for some reason. There we go. All right. And then we're going to finish up with our chunky. So let's measure one more time. Here I've got it at 7, so I needed 10.5. So we'll go, I'm going to cut it right at about probably 9.5, because I do want to keep enough room for the clasp. So I'm going to go right about here. I don't like these kind of necklaces to be too long, so I don't want to go too crazy with it. All right, here's the other end. Let's do the same thing. Cut it right here. And this already has a little ring on it. I don't know if I can, I'll try to just hook it straight on there. We'll see if it works. Yep. Looks like it will. If I can get it closed. Not a good fine motor skills day for this girl. Don't know why. Some days are better than others. I think it's, well, it's a little sideways. Let's close it a little bit better than that. Don't want it to come open. There we go. Okay, and last one over here. You can hear my candle, it's making all kinds of noise. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Okay. I know, maybe trying to hold this with my crimping pliers isn't the best thing, but they do have such a fine little tip that sometimes it's easier, sometimes not though. Let me grab my others. Sometimes these don't grip as well, I don't feel like. Fiddly stuff. That's jewelry making for you, though. Oh my gosh. I should have just used another jump ring, apparently. But I didn't on the other side, so I'm going to try to get it closed here. And I think I got it. Yep, it's actually closed up really well. Okay. All right, so here we go. Now we're just going to hook our clasp on. So we've got our metallic clasp here. I am going to grab another jump ring out so I don't totally frustrate myself, okay, and you all. So I've got a little oval ring here. I'm just going to hook the clasp right on, and I think this is going to be just the right length. Okay, so one side on here. And there we have it. Really, really cute, 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 cute. Okay guys, so here's the necklace. This is really right about where I want it to hang. I like it like this. I really like this. I like the way it turned out. I love all the metals. I think they're so pretty. And there's an up close look at it. I just think it's really, really, I love all the sparkle and the different metals together. So yeah, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.